name's Warren. Welcome to a training session where we'll be going through the marketing campaigns in Core Practice. I'll be going through the videos in two parts. The first part will take about 20 minutes or so to run through the how to build a campaign, your very first one. And then the second part is about how do you run that campaign, and that may take about 5 to 10 minutes. So I'd expect that this video would only take you about 20 minutes to go through. And there's three types of marketing campaigns that I'll take you through. There's a few other ones, but I think the main ones that you'll be using on a day-to-day basis, these three will be query by procedure, query by appointment, and simple query. I'll run through all of those different examples for you. So at the very least, let's run through it. So if you can navigate to the marketing side on your Core Practice page here, you'll see the marketing tab in there, and just click on campaigns. If you don't have access to that, you'll just need to ask your administrator for access to the marketing side of Core Practice, and then you'll be able to see that list on there. So this is a list that I have. You'll see there's a whole bunch of different campaigns on there. If it's your first time in there, maybe you'll have about 4 or 5, and they should already be built for you. One thing to note for here is that I'm also not going to be showing you how to create templates for this. So if you ever want to figure out how to make templates for your marketing campaigns, please use the help button here at the bottom left, and then you can search up how to set up like your own templates, like customize your own little letter templates, your email templates, and all that kind of stuff, and you'll be able to make your templates from there. So first thing is, create those templates, and then we can create these campaigns together to slot those templates in. So we can send out all your email templates or your SMS templates, whatever you'd like there. If we create our first campaign, you'll see the blue button here at the top right. We'll click on that one first, and then it'll take you to this screen where it's going to ask you for a campaign name. Pretty important to keep this as think of it as like a subject line, or perhaps, what you're trying to do with it. Is it a 6-month checkup, or is it a 6-month recall? Whatever you want to call it, you can put it in there. For this one, I'll just say this one's a 6-monthly check up and clean. Then you can choose a type on here. So if you remember, the 3 types that we'll cover off for today are query by procedure, query by appointment, and simple query. So what do all of these do? Just to give you some scenarios, the main one that a lot of people will be using will be query by procedure. What this one does is it's basically going to look through the whole system in Core Practice to show you, all right, who's done a 114 in the last 6 months, or who's done a 121 in the last 6 months, or you can even be a bit more granular and see who has done like an extraction in the last couple of days, as an example. So it'll be completely up to you. This is usually used for more so like, recalls or things like that. But otherwise, the query by appointment one is also pretty interesting, because what it'll do is, and you'll see that the criteria here will change. But if I go to query by appointment, this is where we can start to actually capture people who did not attend their appointment. So it could be things like, did they FTA or UTA? And I guess this will be extremely useful if you're trying to target those people who did not make it to their appointment or did not make another appointment after they canceled their appointment. That's when you should be using this one. It'll also allow you to target your new patients as well. So if you want to send out some extra messaging to any of the new patients that have come to your clinic that year or during that month, you can send them some extra love. Otherwise, the simple query one is about having a look at your whole patient base. So regardless of whatever you put in here, it's going to, if you want to condense it down to a few segments of your data or whatever it is, you can do that. But this one's mainly if you just want to pull up a whole list of all your patients. So typically, when would you need to use that? Well, one of the parts is that you want to use this for SmileRight. So when you need to extract all that information through Core Practice and you want to send that over to the guys at SmileRight, this is the campaign that you'll be using Simple Query to gather all that information. Okay, so in this example for today, I'll just show you how to set up the query by procedure and query by appointment, and just walking you through some of the different things on there. So we'll walk through query by procedure first, since I think most people will be using that, and then I'll walk you through the second option of the query by appointment, and then simple query. Once you set up simple query and you choose that, you don't need to set up anything else. You just need to run it. So I'll skip that over into the second part video. So I've got my query by procedure here. You'll see at the very bottom, there's an area called campaign options. So there's 3 different options in there. The first one in here is about the criteria. So the 2 main ones that we've got in here are interval and procedures. So interval is important because, as an example, right, with your 6-month recalls, we cannot bring that patient in earlier. Otherwise, they may face that issue of not being able to claim. And that's the situation that we don't want to put anybody in. So obviously in this scenario, we'll have a 6-month gap or 6-month interval. And then when do you ever need to change this is when that period is not time sensitive. So as an example, perhaps you want to do like an implant campaign or something like that, and you just want to capture everybody who's come in for an extraction in the last couple of months. Then what you would do is you would choose one day. So you'll only be 1 day late, but that's okay. We'll capture them up later on anyway. So we'll just put a 1 day interval there, and then we will put in our procedures that we want to target. So as an example, for our 6-month checkup, right? I'll just put this back to 6 months. And then I'll choose some procedures that we want to target. So I guess typically, what most of the time with a lot of the clinics that we work with, they'll go for things like an 012. So if somebody's coming for a periodic examination, anybody who's coming for a 114, and also a 121 as an example. But it's up to you in terms of what you want to capture and what you want to use and what you think might be important to capture all these people. Yeah, everybody's going to do this quite differently. But I think if you ask for my opinion on it, it'll be the 012 and the 114, and even perhaps maybe the 115 as well. Okay, so after we've set up our criteria, the two other options in here is patient criteria. So what this one is going to do is, and it gets pretty funky and pretty complex if you'd like it to be, we can start to target certain health funds. So if you're one of those clinics that is a preferred provider, like you're working with Bupa, HCF, NIB, that's when you would want to maybe target some of the members that have those particular cards. And obviously we know that a lot of these health funds send out information every so often. Maybe you can tag onto that and just say, hey, we know you got an email or whatever from Bupa. Have you started utilizing some of the rest of the benefits that you've got? Otherwise, come in and have a look and what we can do for you. You can even do fee levels. The third part is categories. So this is probably something that most of our users may not be using as much at the moment. So if you do want to use the category section, this will allow you guys to segment your data even further. So what we see some of our clinics doing it with is, it could be based on language. So if you want to target all the Mandarin speakers or you want to target all the Korean speakers, you can do that. Otherwise, you can also do it for other things like, are they more into cosmetics, or are they into like Botox or something like that? There's a whole bunch of different things that you'll be able to do with it. So you can add it, you can customize all these categories, of course. We will probably have another guide for that one too. So if you want to check that one out, that will be there. And you can do that. So you can include them or you can exclude them from the list. It's up to you. Okay. Then the other ones on here, the contact information here is just if you want to say, for example, you only want to target people who've got emails, or if they've only got a mobile phone, then you can target those people too. So it's up to you if you just want to target those specifically. And then this part over here is just about whether or not they've opted out to receive your marketing and all of that. So we keep that ticked on just in case, yeah, they did opt out and we don't want to send them any information. Then we also have some age ranges. So just to make the marketing a bit more personalized, you can also do different age ranges. You can do like 18 to 35-year-olds, 35 to 50 or whatever it is, and then sending them out marketing that might be a bit more relevant to their age group. You'd be able to do that sort of stuff as well. But if that really doesn't matter, then it's no problem, right? One good example that I can give you guys is let's just say if you're going to do that implant campaign, you probably don't want to target people younger than the age of 21 as an example. So you probably do 21 to maybe like 60-year-olds as an example. Obviously play around with that age range, what makes sense for your clinic, right? Otherwise, when we go to the advanced section, this is where we can start to do particular, work on particular locations. So if you've got multiple locations, you don't want to send it out to everyone. You can target your certain locations that you want. And then this part in here is pretty important. So the exclusion area. So the exclusion area will allow you to exclude people if they've already, got an appointment in the system, or if they've already started, completing some of these procedures. As an example, we can exclude them from the list. The main one that I see a lot of people using, and the main one that I use, will just be the exclude appointment section. So what we're going to do in here is, especially if we're doing a 6-month checkup, we're choosing Checkup Scale and Clean or any one that's relevant or similar to that one. And then basically what happens is we'll pull up the list, and anybody who's got an appointment in core practice already for a Checkup Scale and Clean, they will be completely out of the list. So we're not going to be doubling up at all. Okay, but we still have some other safeguards just to capture any of those people if they do have any other appointments. So you'll be able to see that in a moment in the second video. Now at the very bottom, you've got some different sending methods. So I wouldn't worry too much about this part here for now, but just choose which one you think is probably going to be best suited for the practice. And obviously it depends on what you're sending out. I think for recalls, the preference is probably going to be SMS and then email. But if you're starting to send out other types of campaigns like the implant campaign or something like that, that's when you'll be using email a little bit more, so you can have a bit more information on there, especially having, pictures. You can have like links to videos or links to your website, or even have a book here button that takes you directly to your online booking. That's when you can start to utilize email a lot more. Now, if you remember from the first part of my video, I did mention that you do need to create your templates in Core Practice. So please, if you haven't already created them, go ahead, complete some of them if you can. If you'd like some examples, please contact our support team. We can give you some examples to work off. Otherwise, this is where you can put in your different campaigns, or different email templates that you might have. You can see I've got some whitening campaigns or whitening specials or Zoom specials. And then I can also slot in my SMS templates in here as well. So these could be obviously your appointment reminders, your SMS recalls and all of that. So yeah, just choose the one that makes sense to you guys. Yes. And then what's down here is very important as well. So for your emails, if you want to have like a subject line for it, you can put something in there. Otherwise, the appointment reason is important because for us to check how well you guys are going with the campaign and how well they've done, we obviously want to keep track of whether or not they booked an appointment. So it's important that we have something in here that you want them to target for. So anybody who's booked in for a checkup, scan, and clean, and they booked in, we can give that a go ahead and just say that it worked as well as you wanted to. So I'll save this one for now, and we'll go from there. So you can see I've got my 6-month checkup and clean as a test here for now, and we'll run that later today. Otherwise, we'll create our second campaign, which is our query by appointment. So the only difference between this one and how I see a lot of our clinics using it is mainly as a cancellation list. And at least if we've got the cancellation list on here, we can act on it as well. So anybody who's on the cancelled list who did not make another appointment, we can send them like an email or an SMS just to bring them back as well. So in this particular example, you can see we've also still have the intervals in here. We can also just choose one day as an example so we can capture everybody. You can also target certain reasons. So, if they did end up coming for like a crown and bridge or something like that, and they do need to come for one, we can have them specifically. Otherwise, you can also target certain statuses, people who have canceled or, people who are just tentative. But I think the biggest one is whether or not they actually attended. This is the main one that a lot of our clinics will use. So you don't really mind, if they attended. I guess you could do one, at the end of the year to see who's attended the clinic during that year, and then you can target all those people and just say, Merry Christmas or whatever it is. You can do that sort of stuff. Otherwise, we can just use unable to attend, failed to attend, or they canceled their appointment, so we can target all those people. There's another option in here where you can target just new patients if you'd like. But otherwise, when we go back to patient criteria, it's exactly the same as the other ones. And then advanced, it's exactly the same except for the exclusion area. Okay. Otherwise, just put in your templates, put your email subject line and your appointment reason, and you're ready to go. Okay. So the final bit is how do you pull up a list of all of your patients? So that was the final one, which is this simple query. So I'll create a campaign here. We can give it a name and just call it something like all patients or whatever it is. We'll choose the type. We go simple query. And you don't need to worry about this stuff in here. You don't need to worry about what you put into advanced section in here unless you want to email out or SMS out, then that's fine. But I think typically everybody just runs this list because they want to grab that list. Okay. So we hit save changes for now. And you can see we've got all of our campaigns in there ready to go. So if you have any questions about the marketing system, there's obviously a little bit more that we can run through. So if you ever want to do manual recalls, like you can set up 3 monthly recalls and all that kind of stuff, you can always check out our guides here on how to set up our marketing. So if I type it in here, you can see how to use our marketing feature as well as how to run your 6-month recall. So if you want to skip my second video, you can just go into the guide there and check it out as well, and that will walk you through it step by step on how to do that. But as you can see, there's quite a lot to do with the marketing there. So if you have any other questions or if you'd like some guidance on it a little bit more about how you can get the best out of it, you can reach out to any of your customer success managers or your sales reps to see if you can get some details on that and any tips on there as well. But If you otherwise, if you have any other questions, please jump into our support as well. You can also log a ticket that way too if you require some more help. You can put some screenshots in there and you can get some help from a fellow core practice member. But that is it for the first part. I hope that was okay. I will move. You can obviously have a look at the second video as well, where I'm going to show you how to run that campaign. Okay, so thank you so much for that. I'll see you in that next video.